see like there's a discoloration from the thumbs and stuff. Alright. Thank you. Hey, so I'm teaching about flipbooks today, and it's because flipbooks are fun. How many kids like watching cartoons? Everyone likes watching cartoons. How many people like drawing? Everybody loves drawing. How many people have ever tried to draw a cartoon that moves, like an animation? Alright, so most of us have tried, and was that a good experience? Was it difficult? How'd it go? It was hard, right? Okay, so drawing is easy, right? Or drawing, like everything else, the more you do, the better you get at it. And flipbooks is like that, except there are tricks to it that make it easier. I will not be talking that much about science. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about it, but I want to talk to you about what it is to animate. So this is a page. So the word for animation is from ancient Latin. It basically translates as like mind. I don't know how that really relates, but that's where the word came from. Let me give you an example of a timeline and a flipbook. Here's an example of a timeline, and here you see that there's different parts that are moving, and this is sort of the first step in writing a good flipbook, is you sort of come up with like what you want to happen. You want a cloud to have the spout and then turn into like a tornado there at the end, and then you want some action. You want these trees to kind of do this thing where the branches sort of fly off the tree. And you might add a few other little things, like the buildings kind of fly apart, and like there might even be like a cow or something that sort of flies away. So how do you make this into an animation? Well, first, like I said, you sort of sketch it out on a single sheet of paper first, like this sheet, and then what you do is you start drawing it. When you draw one thing on every page of the entire flipbook. And for this one, as complicated as it may seem, it was actually started with one simple line. If you can see right there, right here, see that line right there? Follow that line on every page and you'll see that it stays in the same position on every single page. So I basically drew that line for the entire thing, and I kind of do that with all of them. Very few of them do I figure that out, but that also applies to gravity, on solid ground. Another example that's a little bit more fun and interesting. This one is one of my personal favorites. As you can see, we got a lot of action going on. There's a lot of bouncing around, and you have this sort of red ball, and it's flying back and forth. Now the rules are that if you get hit, you're out. And whoever hits you gets to take over the trampoline bouncing stage. But as you can see, complicated as that may look, if you look, there's that black line again right at the bottom. And it stays there on every page. It's always there, because it's my frame of reference. Sometimes I call that line my reference line. To give you an example, though, about layers, here's another example. Here's an unfinished flarf ball. As you can see, right now, it's just the trampoline. It's missing all that other stuff. So in order to draw a really good flipbook, you have to find the parts of the flipbook that are going to move the least. Your solid objects, your stable objects, your fixed positions. Those are the things that you're going to want to draw first, the things in the front. And then as you get along with it, you can do more things in the background. A few more words on Flutterball. Here's another like timeline sheet that I drew, except this more has to do with like the rules of it and like how to actually play it. It's a game that was invented in Westville back in the 90s. I'm sure that it's been invented again ever since. Anyway, so here you have, this is the first layer, and then that's the second. I added more stuff to it, and then the third. So you have, you know, it just gets more complicated the more you draw it. And as you can see, it started out really, really simple, like this, and you go from that to adding a whole bunch of stuff and having it look something more like that in the end. And then now you have yourself a nice little gift to give to your friend when you see him and you say, hey, here you go. Like, you know, thanks for playing Flutterball with me, you know? Or maybe this could be like, I don't know, it's practice. Every single one of these is practice, and the more you practice, you get better. That's true for flip books. It's also true for playing the drums. Like our fellow here. Here's another example of a timeline and a sequence. You have your drummer. This is a complete picture. Here's an incomplete picture, and here's the sort of the initial layer. As you can see, again, I'm doing the same thing where I'm building blocks and then adding stuff. So here I just have the kit. Now I got the drummer on the kit, and there's notes going on. So here you have your flipbook, the drummer guy who does the drums on the flipbooks. And as you can see, he's got the sequence at the bottom that's moving, which is kind of fun to watch. And as he's playing, you see how this page says hi-hat and bass drum, and there's green lights on the left. Well, he's hitting the hi-hat, and he's also hitting the bass drum. On the next frame, though, as you can see, he's not hitting anything, but look at the sequence. He's not hitting anything on the sequence either. So the drummer matches the sequence, and that's something that I just thought would be interesting to do, because if you've ever made a beat on GarageBand or on a computer before, you'll know that this thing that you see with the blocks and stuff is sort of the language of all the music that you hear on the radio that's made on a computer, including the beats that I'm playing really quietly right now.